just like in the human species.
There you go. Well, thank you. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, you are constantly distracting danger away from your wife.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear Kent talking? Oh, he must be on the phone.
No, you hear
People in customer support?
We hear
yes.
people working at Explore Scientific.
Yeah, because I'm not muted. Let me mute myself.
No, you look fine. You listen fine. You sound good. Well, that is true. I've heard many times people in the background, I didn't know it came from your area.
Actually, it's a recording that we have, making it sound like we're really busy. So we have Martin Eastburn and Mike Wiesner.
Scott, you're not
Hi
supposed
from Thundery, Southern Arizona. And Martin says, howdy, all clouding up in East Texas. Martin, I did not know that people from Arizona and Texas both said howdy. We say it in Arkansas, though, don't we?
Scott does.
Oh, Scott does. Annie doesn't. She never comes to my office and says, howdy, Scott.
I'm going to have to make a mental note to do that. From now
Mental note. Give Scott a howdy. That's right. And Pekka's on. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Pekka. Isn't that the cutest sparrow in the world right there? He's sharpening his beak, though. I don't know what for.
I think it's the female.
Her beak.
There you go.
Because it's very drab.
I think it's the female house sparrow, if not mistaken.
That's sharp of a beak, man. It could like peck your eyes out, though, right?
I
Probably
guess
not.
she's getting ready for a hot date. Don't judge her.
I'm not judging her. I'm just
I'm just picking on
amazed at how sharp her beak is. And I'm being careful. Cameron Gillis is on. Howdy, everyone. Everybody's going to start saying howdy. Hi, Tarek. He says, I will be split into two. So we'll watch here and watch somewhere else. Burning isn't my thing yet. Lots of laughs. Yeah. I mean, it's like sharpening that beak against that wire cable.
Probably an electric transmission line,
You think?
probably.
And did you know that the shape of the beak indicates the kind of food they eat?
I did not know that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, this bird is a seed eater. If you were to see a warbler, it'd be thin and long because they eat insects.
Oh.
And
That's interesting.
I'm just full of it.
They don't have to crack open things.
That's correct. All they need is a feeder in their backyard.
Hmm.
And the point of insects is, if you love birds that eat insects, you might want to have insects in your yard.
Yes.
And not poison said insects, so you can have a wonderful picnic with no bugs, or to not be bothered by a single bug while you walk from your car into your house.
You'd like purple martins and you'd like swallows.
I
Let
am
them do the work for you.
going to put up a purple martin house this winter on some land where I'm building a house. So hopefully next spring some scouts find it and I have some purple martins.
Beautiful. Love them.
So Kent, I have a question then. If you're saying that we should keep the insects so we can have lots of birds. So what does that mean if you have lots of insects, but you never see birds?
They're too busy killing insects.
Yeah, you got.
You may not have trees for them to land in. There's all sorts of causes.
Now check this out. Okay, I've never
That's
seen
Beth.
this.
You've never
activity.
seen this?
I've never seen this.
Yeah, that's how they get rid of insects that are on them.
And mites and things.
Yep.
Oh, he looks pretty happy.
Like
Yeah.
a
He
bird
looks
in
pretty happy
like a pig in the mud, so to speak.
in the sand.
Bird in the sand.
So Beatrice Hines says, hello, Kent, Dan, Annie, and Scott.
Hi, Beatrice.
Hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts with Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance, and you're watching the 10th episode of On the Wing. So we got a special thing for you guys. Kent and Dan will talk about it, but we've been talking about birds and insects, and Annie just asked, what if you got insects and no birds? What I would say is that you put so much poison in your yard that the insects are now resistant to it, okay? But it's killed all the birds. So,
Great.
Mike Wiesner is saying that light pollution is also killing insects on planet Earth. So we need to have dark skies. We need to reduce the poisons that we're using, and do what we can to make it a friendly environment, including letting some insects in your yard.
Bird populations have plummeted over the past 20, 30, 40 years, according to surveys. It's one of those things, you see birds, so you don't realize how many more birds there used to be. So
Beatrice Hines says, here we always say the bird is taking a bath in the sand. We have all kinds of American idioms. That must be a Belgian idiom. Birds taking a bath in the sand. I don't know. Yeah.
That's taking a dust. I always called it.
That's a very important meaning.
I always called it a dust bath. So I always heard.
Tarek says he is poisoned insects. Okay. All right.
Well,
Tarek.
I have too.
Yeah. And Martin says they're using heavy chemicals in the fields and farms. That's also true. So support your organic farmer if at all possible. But it's great to see everybody here. What do we have today for our audience?
You're sharing. Somebody else is sharing the screen, so I can't. There it goes.
There it goes.
What do we have today?
Yeah.
We have sparrows. Part 2.
Sparrows. All right. Now, before you get into sparrows, I notice you have your eagle up there, but we should probably check in with Annie and see what's going on with you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I get to move to the front of the line. Thanks, Kent.
You're welcome.
No, things are going great. I got to sit down and send out some gift cards to some new platinum members. Since we transferred over to that new system, we've had 17 new platinum members and 32 legacy members, making it a total of 49 new members. And so we're trucking right along with getting people signed up and stuff like that. So that's really exciting. It keeps me busy because I have to add everybody to their Excel spreadsheet and then make sure we get more certificates made. So that's a good thing that keeps me going. So, but today I just wanted to highlight an ambassador real fast. We have quite a few members that actually win gift cards that are international, and we don't really have, they buy product from us and stuff, but I don't know if everybody knows about what one of our ambassador does for us. And so it's an option you can look into. I mean, I don't know, Scott and I've talked about it a little bit, but we're not sure if we're going to be able to do this or not, but we're tossing the idea around. But one of our ambassadors, Jerry Hubble, and I'm sure you guys have heard, I mean, he has a show on, he's amazing, absolutely amazing, has a book, written articles. He is an absolutely amazing ambassador and just a great guy. But an employee of Explore Scientific. Yes, and employees. For full disclosure, okay. Yes, yeah. So he's amazing, and he does this thing with MSRO where you can you can have a time, schedule a time, purchase a time to spend time with him on that. And so it's a robotic mount controlled system. And so it's just, it's a remote observatory. So it's just great. It's just really great. But the neatest thing that I think about him is that he figured out how to measure exoplanets. He figured out how to, I spent one day reading an article about, he wrote an article about exoplanets and how we figured out that they're there. And so it was really neat. But, I highly recommend just doing some research on him and learning more about him. He is filled with so much knowledge. I mean, he just is and great at answering and explaining. And, if you just stare blankly at him, it's like, do you understand? No, he'll go back and explain it again. So
I hope he's not listening to this, because his head would be like swelling so big right now.
I think he's amazing. I think he's great. So, but
He is. I just hope he's not
great.
listening. So,
but he has this he has a remote observatory. He's written 2 books that he has out right now. In fact, we asked him the other day, I think at a meeting, or was it on were we in the show, Scott, where you asked him about his book? I can't remember. But he has
he has a couple of books. One of them is about scientific imaging, and the other one's about remote observatories.
But this right here, if you click on it, it will go to a YouTube video where they talk about exoplanets, and this is off of our website. So that's an ad, but it's a YouTube. It'll explain, all he interviewed and all that stuff on there. And then this is a paper that he wrote. Just goes in. So, his methods and stuff like that. So, it's just, it's amazing how he discovered how to find exoplanets. So, but anyways, so that's one of our ambassadors. He shares his education with us, and we are very fortunate to have him as a part of our team. So, and he's just a drop in the bucket of our ambassadors that we have that have come alongside of us. So in our Explore Alliance program. So we're very thankful for everybody that shares their knowledge with us.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, because there's some really amazing people out there. Beatrice Hines is asking about the ambassador program for Explore Scientific. The first thing you have to understand is that we do not have a brand ambassador program. Mm-hmm. For instance, Tiger Woods is a brand ambassador, or was a brand ambassador for Nike. Okay. He wore Nike clothes, Nike hat, used only Nike equipment, golfed with Nike golf clubs and Nike golf balls. Okay. So, he was not, under his contract, he was not allowed to use any other kind of golfing gear, okay, or to appear on television without his Nike stuff on, okay. That's not what we have. You will notice if you look at our brand ambassadors that are part of our program, they are involved in educational outreach, and they participated in our shows. They're not paid, okay. I figure if you're paying somebody to do educational outreach, I mean, that's fine if you do things for schools or whatever, and you're being compensated for that. But I feel it's a lot more legit if you are doing your own thing with your own gear. If some of our gear is in it, lovely, but that's not the requirement. The requirement is that you're really regularly involved in educational outreach to the public. And you can do that in a number of different ways. It could be completely online. Okay, this program and programs that we run are all educational outreach programs. Okay, you could, when COVID starts to lift, if you're an astronomer, you're out at star parties, you're having sidewalk astronomy events, you're talking to schools, that kind of thing. That would qualify you. We like to have our ambassadors have their own social media pages or even their own web page, that kind of thing, something that we can link back to each other, because we create a page for you, and we're there to call attention to you, so that you can do even more outreach. So that's the real deal. So if you have interest in it, get in touch with Annie at, you write to Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com.
And so anyways, I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, but I do want to remind everybody that if you are a member, I've sent out emails to everybody that have not updated their addresses. We have, and I'm going to probably say it a million times, if you are in Groups.io, you have a legacy membership. You automatically, by joining that forum, you automatically have a legacy membership, and your profile needs to have your address in there. I've emailed everybody in there, and unfortunately this last week when I did a prize drawing, I had to skip over some people because I have notified them and asked them to send me their address, and they did not. So if I do not have your address, I'm not going to be able to award those prizes to you because I don't have anywhere to send it. And so you're missing out, and I would hate for that to happen. So if you want to check on that, just email me, and I can look up to see if your address is correct, or just email me your address and I'll add it in and make sure it's updated. So but yeah, that's
What did they miss out on?
It was the survey winners. They missed out on an 82-degree 30mm or 14mm eyepiece and an Astrolight red flashlight with the planisphere. I had to, and I didn't do it. I had to do it more than once. That's what's crazy about it is and I know because I go back and check those Groups.io to see if their stuff's in there, and I know who I've emailed, and unfortunately.
And we don't share our email addresses. They're
No,
internal use only. We don't give it to anyone. We don't
Nope.
sell it to anyone. It's not gonna, be done. It's just for our business relationships with our customers.
And our addresses, we need those so we can mail things to you. It's not because we want to bombard you with ads or whatever. It's so that we can send gifts and prizes to you. It has nothing to do with us sending you a weekly mailer. It honestly is about prizes and gifts. So we just want to make sure that everybody has their addresses updated. So
although we do send announcements and
yes, we do
magazines and digital magazines,
but not like
yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah,
clarify
I'm
that.
now signed up for things where I get emailed. Some places email me every day. It's
Yes.
crazy.
It's
Yes.
like delete.
Yep.
Yes. So just please make sure you have your profiles updated, because I felt really bad because I had to move on to the next person. So anyways, that's all I have.
All right. Well, Beatrice is building a website, so we're here for you, Beatrice, whenever you're ready. So that's great. Okay, so now we're going to turn the show over to Kent and to Dan, and the subject is sparrows.
Sparrows. Let's just fly right into it. My screen sharing.
Let's just fly right into it. Oh my God.
What? There was a pun there.
Yeah.
No, there was no pun there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we go, Dan. The white-throated sparrow, very common and very easy to determine sparrow. Let's listen to it real quick.
Nice.
Hang on just a second. This long call is what you hear. That's it right there.
That call? Huh.
Yeah. That's the call right there, Dan.
Now,
Right.
remember, for those that really care, there's over 980 different species in North America, and every bird has a different call. It's kind of hard to believe. There are 37 sparrows in North America. This is only one of them. But the sound that Kent played for you, if you were out in the field, out in the, looking for birds and listening for birds, if you hear that right there, you say, I'm going to go hunt that down, not to shoot it. I'm going to go see it and I'll watch it. But that's the sound of the white-throated sparrow. And when you finally get your binoculars onto that bird, you're going to see a very, very prominent white eyebrow on both sides, of course. But in front of their eye is a very prominent yellow spot. And so that right there is a field mark. And they also have a white throat. So it could be, because it's called a white-throated sparrow. That's hence the name, right?
Yeah.
My dad could mimic this whistle very well and could whistle this sound very well and could get birds to talk back and forth to him. And at times he could get them to come flying over to check him out and would fly up looking for the other bird that was making that sound. It was awful fun to watch that happen.
This is a migratory bird. In fact, all of these sparrows are migratory. So they'll appear in their habitat, which is basically woodlands and undergrowth. But they're not really found in the West. Like if you were to go to Utah or Colorado or Arizona or California, you're not going to have a very good chance of seeing or hearing a white-throated sparrow.
So one more time, and this call is very unique. And when you hear it, you know what it is.
Now, Dan, you mentioned something about a field mark, and I've heard you say this several times, and you said that's a field mark. What does that mean, field mark?
A field mark indicates when you're searching for a bird you've never seen.
Yeah.
You look in the book, it'll tell you, okay, the white-throated sparrow has a white throat prominent, okay?
Yeah.
Both the male and the female are also, they look alike, except the colors would be more prominent in the male.
Okay.
You would also look for that yellow in front of the eye, because very few other birds will have yellow in front of the eye. That's another field mark, which identifies it as its
special, some sort of special mark that
absolutely
helps you identify it. I see.
And also remember, for people that are really interested in listening to birds, is that usually these calls are more prominent during breeding season. If, for example, if you were to see a white-throated sparrow in November in Arkansas, you might hear one or two chip notes that sound a little bit like what Kent played, but not very prominent, and the coloration of the birds will be less so. And that's that's pretty much the same with all birds.
So here's a shot of a white-throated sparrow in flight. Pretty cool. So going to move on, and we're going to do some comparisons here, because this is a bird that I have to stop and think about, and I think a lot of other people do, and comparing and contrasting the white-throated and the beautiful white crowned. So from the field marks, obviously, Dan, there's two significant differences.
Yeah, well, first of all, in that previous picture you showed was the white-throated. I would say when you want to identify a bird, you probably would like to see it perched rather than in flight, because the white-throated is not going to show that black of a breast. In fact, it's not very black at all.
It's in shadow on that one.
So therefore, you can't really tell from that, but you can tell from the yellow in front of the eye. You see that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
With the white crowned sparrow, it's similar to the white-throated, but it doesn't have the white throat, but it has the prominent black markings on the crown, but the center of the crown is white. So therefore, that's the white crowned sparrow.
So we're going to do a little comparison. I got some side-by-sides here that we're going to look at. So let's listen to the white crowned sparrow.
You'll notice that in the white crowned sparrow, similar with the white-throated, the sparrows will oftentimes have 1 or 2 or 3 notes at the introduction of their song, and then that gets into a trill. This particular bird right here, your windows could be shut and you could hear that call and you say, oh, we have a white-crowned sparrow in the backyard, okay? And they're very common in the winter, more so than in the spring, unless you're on the breeding grounds.
So, look at the map, mostly covers the entire United States effectively. Weirdly, nothing on the very East Coast of the Carolinas and Florida and Georgia, which I think has got to be sort of weird. There's got to be birds over there. That's just an odd map. Okay, so let's compare these two side by side. Okay, this is a white-crowned female, and they're side by side. The female is actually a very pretty bird. This is a case where the white-crowned female is not just a plain brown bird, and I think it's a really pretty bird. So,
well, once again, as we talked about earlier, the male and the female look very similar.
right.
So, but in breeding, on the breeding grounds, the colors of the male will be a little more prominent than the female in this particular case.
Right. Okay, so here we are, side by side, white-crowned sparrow on the left. Oh,
This is a great photo.
And the white-throated, I have it wrong on the title down below the caption, and
That's
the white-throated is on the right. Easy to tell because of that obvious white throat patch and that yellow patch in front of the eye.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
These pictures are all by Terry Stanfill, right?
Right. That's correct.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah.
Good.
We're going to miss Terry and his, more pictures. So anyway, here's another one, more Terry photos. White crowned on the left and white throated on the right.
Now, when you see a white-throated sparrow, and usually it's wintertime where they're really prominent in the backyard, man, that white throat just comes right at you. It's unbelievable. It's one of the most handsome sparrows, unlike the house sparrow. Had to get that in there.
We have to whack the house sparrows every chance we get. I think that this is a beautiful white-crowned picture of a white-crowned sparrow. That is he just looks very regal almost. And obviously it's in the winter. He's puffed up because it was really cold. But I think that's just a beautiful picture, beautiful lighting. White-crowned and white-throated, two very, just in a glimpsing, if you don't look for that the yellow eye patch, you may mistake one for the other, but their notes are completely different. And that yellow eye patch and the white throat is the dead giveaway. So moving on, here we go to the swamp sparrow.
Swamp sparrow.
And let's listen to this song.
Wow, very different.
Very different.
We have some angry clouds outside.
Yeah, if we drop off, it's because we had a lightning strike and
There's a lightning
lost
strike.
power. Okay.
Now
The Zoom meeting will continue on, so we'll be back if there's.
the swamp sparrow has got one of the more dramatic calls, because when you're out just birding by water is always a great draw for birds. There's food there, there's water, protection against predators and so forth. But this little guy is always and only found near swamps and bogs and marshes. But you hear that call, that is a remarkable sound for such a little 5 3/4 inch long bird.
Just distinct.
Now, in this particular case, because of its habitat, you'll probably determine that is a swamp sparrow. but it's not, doesn't have really dramatic markings. The markings that I have down here for swamp sparrow is basically a grayish face with a rufous, which is like reddish underparts. You can see on the sides, the flanks, and near the tail is a rufous or a reddish color.
Sorry about that. Okay, so here's another picture. Nice profile shot.
There's a good one.
Really pretty picture. Terry just got great bird photos. I mean, he was very humble about it, about his skills, but to take this picture takes a lot of patience and being out there, and being in the right spot. So talk about those markings again. We can see this a little bit better in this photo.
The markings basically grayish on the face and above the eye, and rufous or reddish streakings on the underbody and the wings and on the cheeks, and a whitish throat, although I don't even know why they put that in the books because it's not very prominent. I will note this, but the last one we looked at was the white crown. We looked at the white crown. The white crown is 7 inches long, but this little hummer is 5 3/4 of an inch. So it's much smaller than the white crown. And because of where you are in the marsh area, with a sound like that, that's a swamp sparrow.
Right. All right. So next bird up is the song sparrow. So map shows it all over the United States, basically everywhere in the lower 48 and all the lower provinces of for our Canadian friends. Here we go. The song sparrow.
Notice its introductory note. A lot of sparrows have an introductory note. And now when you are out in the field, because usually song sparrows will be pretty much anywhere. And by the way, the song sparrows are between 5 and 6.5 inches. So depending upon, I guess, where you are, I'm really not sure about that, but they're only about 5.5, 6 inches long. That bird right there has a call. But if that bird were in Florida, it would have a different sound than the one in California, for example. The books have indicated that the song sparrow, you can't really identify by its call necessarily because it's the most varied call by this particular sparrow species.
So there's not a ubiquitous call like the white-throated and white-crowned.
No, but it has that introductory note. And quite a melodious, more so than the other birds, quite a melodious and varied song. When there's a song, they're called a song sparrow for one reason. They just love to get out there and sing. So when you hear that, it's a song sparrow.
There's a mourning dove in the background. So I'll
add one other thing. In all the years, over 35 years that I've been a birder, I can tell you that 99% of the time, song sparrows are singing from a perch just like that within 25 to 30 yards of a stream or a river. They're always by running water. Always.
In a lot, you touched on something I had noticed. In almost all of these video and audio files, if you listen to the background, there's almost always geese or a red-winged blackbird, meaning a clue that it's taken around water, and because water is the great attractor. They've got to have water at some point, and especially in the morning and evenings, which is when Terry went out. And most of these videos are taken mornings and evenings. But I try to listen to the background. There was a mourning dove in there, and one of these has a very prominent red-winged blackbird call at some point. So I find myself listening more and more, like I've talked about before. When I'm outside, I start listening more and more for sparrows and trying to remember that call. And, not sparrows, but birds. So. And it's funny, I don't know if y'all can hear it or not, but you can hear what sounds like flies flying past the microphone, little zoom, zoom. I hear in my
You sure that
headphones.
wasn't a cow?
No, I think it. So there's that dove again.
I love that call. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, so moving on, let's go to
Martin
The-
Eastburn is saying mockingbirds are the dickens. They have some birds that sing all night and never repeat a bird call. None of theirs. We finally got down to the tree behind the house due to the lack of. They cut down the tree behind the house due to the lack of sleep.
I would have just shot the bird. I mean, no offense, but save a tree. Deal with the
Kill a
bird.
bird? No.
Well, I used to get calls from colleagues of mine, this like 10, 15, 20 years ago. And northern mockingbird, they are known as mimics, and they repeat a call 5, 6, 7 times at 3 o'clock in the morning. I really can't sleep much unless you close the window. It's amazing.
That is a
They're
terrible
bugs.
problem to have, that a bird is keeping you awake. I mean, it's I'm sort of joking, but it's one time some friends of ours had a cuckoo. No, what was it? It wasn't a cuckoo. It was a nighthawk. Just out. I mean, literally, it was astoundingly loud. You could hear it in the whole house.
Near.
It was
Meow.
just so stupid loud, and it went on for nights after night, and it finally decided to go somewhere else. But it can be very bothersome when it's that loud and that obnoxious. So here's another little pretty picture of a song sparrow. Obviously taken with the water in the background again, but just a very pretty little bird. All right, so moving on. Here is the Savannah Sparrow, and let's listen to it. Hear the geese. And there was that red-winged blackbird right in there. All right, so
The Savannah Sparrow is about 5.5 inches long. They're pretty common in just open habitats, including marshes. And that's a pretty beautiful sound. But the one field mark that it has is a prominent yellow eyebrow. It's not like yellow in front of the eye like the other, I think it was yellow-throated.
Above the eye.
the
Yeah,
white-throated, right?
right.
This is
right.
this is more like a little bit of mascara, not a whole eyebrow.
Yes, it is. And a different streaking, but a little bit clearer, but with some modeling on the breast. But here again, this is the one that you would identify based on its call, not so much its field marks.
Let's listen to it again. Somewhat similar to the song that we heard from the song sparrow, but different.
Yes. One of the other field marks of the Savannah Sparrow actually is a broad white mustache line on both sides. If it's not, doesn't really show it really well, but yeah, there you go, Ken.
Right there,
Yeah,
right there.
When you see that bird out there and you see how broad and white that is all the way up towards the bill, that's another field mark along with the yellow eyebrow.
All right. So, and how big was it? 5.5 to 6 inches?
No, just 5.5 inches long.
Yeah, 5.5 inches long. And when we say 5.5, we're talking about tip of beak to the tail,
Tip of the
correct?
tail, correct.
So in all these birds, we were talking about in the pre-show as we're going live, the bills tell us what about about sparrows?
Well, about any bird, the bills will tell you what kind of food they prefer. And almost all sparrows are seed eaters. And so therefore it doesn't need to be a very large one like a cardinal, for example. A cardinal can get larger seeds and crack them open, right? Whereas sparrows really rely on just getting a feeder or habitat around them where they can easily get seeds.
Little seeds.
Just little ones, right?
Yeah, so little millet and cracked corn and things, because sparrows, we would growing up, we had feeders that we put strictly sunflower seeds in, and Dad did that to keep the other birds away, and so he attracted cardinals, grosbeaks, things like that, and they all have these short, really broad, cracking bills versus the long, skinny bills like you're saying of the warblers. And the flycatchers, they catch bugs, so they have a different tool in their arsenal to gather food, right?
That's correct. Now, folks that are watching right now, almost everybody has seen an American goldfinch. An American goldfinch, one of their primary sources of food would be sunflowers, out in the fields. And the sunflowers could be pretty small, or they can be larger, or whatever. But if you and you have a feeder in your backyard that has both cracked sunflower seeds, if you have a thistle or a Niger seed feeder, you're going to get certain birds that are going to prefer that, and one of them is the goldfinch.
Yeah. Terry has a couple of spectacular pictures that we'll see one of these days of a goldfinch on a thistle.
Yeah,
And it's just a spectacular image.
that's a great looking bird, buddy.
Yep. So we'll see that here in a few weeks, I suspect. All right. So finishing up with our pretty picture. I couldn't find what this plant, but you start looking at it and, okay, here's obviously some big bees and wasps, but here looks like a lightning bug. And here's a tiny little fly of some sort. There's one back here on the back side. There's all sorts of little hidden bugs in this picture. Anyway, that's the end of the slideshow. If I can make it stop sharing, what happened? All right, so there we go. So that's the end of the slideshow. Next week, we're going to be looking at juveniles, which is going to be somewhat of a problem, but we have a bunch of really cute juvenile birds. So I thought juveniles would be an interesting show, and we can talk about the challenges of identifying juveniles versus mature adults, mature adult birds. Ranging from owls to bald eagles to who knows what else I have in store for us next week. So we decided for the 10th anniversary, we're going to have a giveaway, right? So Annie,
Yep.
tell us what the prize is.
Oh,
And the rules.
are there rules?
There's
You
rules.
gotta be an Explore Alliance member.
You
Yeah,
have to
Kent
be an
knows the rules.
Explore Alliance member, and I need your address. If your profile doesn't have your address, then we have a problem.
And if you live overseas,
And if you live overseas,
you're going to have to pay the duty and taxes and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So if you win it and can't, do that, then, notify us and we'll go on to the next winner. So,
Yeah.
what are they, Annie?
The prize is a pair of Alpen Shasta Ridge 8x42 binoculars.
So these are waterproof.
Yes.
They have heck, I'll just show my
Oh,
screen.
that's what I was just
Share your
about to do.
I'll share my screen.
Show it to us. Kent.
Technology is a great thing. There we go. So nice, compact, beautiful Alpen binoculars. They got long eye relief, fully multi-coated. That means that all of the optics have coatings on them. There's a cleaning pin included. These are really nice binoculars. They come with attached end caps. They have twist up eye cups.
They're nice binoculars.
They're very nice binoculars, and they have a retail price, as the viewers can see, of $229.99.
Did you mention the lifetime warranty?
Oh, Alpen comes with a very most excellent warranty, lifetime. So once registered within 60 days. So it's this is a great price, and right in the wheelhouse for birding. You can use them for astronomy. You can use them for whatever binocular needs you have. So Dan, okay, to enter, you gotta send your email to, and Scott will throw it in there on the chat, Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com. He's gonna put that in the chat so everybody can see it on all the platforms. Now, we need to have your entries. So this is the 26th of August. Andy, when do you want to set the deadline for? Next, like Tuesday?
How
about for by the next show?
Yeah,
Well, we gotta have a little bit of time to by.
Oh, that's
Wednesday,
true. So we can announce it at the next show.
by September the 1st.
Oh, that's good.
Let's just
That
do
sounds
September the 1st. We
That
have
sounds
to
good.
have them by 5 p.m. Central Time,
Mm-hmm.
September the 1st. Most of them will come in the next half hour, is my guess. But this allows people who watch the show for the next week to enter as well. So, Dan, you're the question man.
Define monomorphic and give us an example.
Define
ahead.
Monomorphic.
monomorphic.
Now that's a term
It's a mouthful. Monomorphic.
And that's you've talked about this on previous shows
Several times.
We actually talked about it
In the-
today. We just did not define it. So it's actually been discussed on this show at least twice that I recall, but we did not define it. So obviously we want everyone to enter. We know you have this thing called the Google, and might be able to come up with the answer, even though you don't know it. But because of our question, you're going to learn something, and you'll remember it for the rest of your birding life and go monomorphic. And you'll be at a party sometime and prove your geekiness by whipping out the word monomorphic when you're discussing birds. All right.
Oh, I would love to see you do that. Can't go to a party and whip that information out.
I do that
Yep.
kind of thing pretty regularly.
I
Yes.
could see you doing that pretty regularly.
Yep. So anyway, Scott, you're putting the question in the chat, right?
Yes, and Beatrice Hines says, unfortunately, I can't participate due to high taxes and duties here. But Beatrice, we can still work with you. We do have other things that you could participate in, such as the Mark Slade Remote Observatory, these kinds of things where we don't have to ship you anything, but you can participate in a class to, say, like learn how to do photometry or something like that. And so we can arrange that kind of thing for you.
Yeah, because Beatrice has already won prize, right? Did she win something previously?
Yes, she was second
Yeah.
place for our last astrophotography contest, Galaxies, and did an amazing job. And so,
Right.
Unfortunately, there's just no way around us being able to help with those taxes and things like that. So, I wish, I
And
wish
the
we could.
shipping
Yeah,
too
the
is
shipping.
also,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we may
so-
we may be able to work something out there.
Yeah.
That's an option there.
And I saw in another situation, another group where there was an international winner, and what they did is they just simply donated it to another organization. Is what they did. But we have another solution. It would involve you learning something and taking a class, but we can still do that.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out something. That's something Scott and I have recently been talking about. And so, and we know there's, we don't want to leave those members out to dry, hang out to dry. So we're trying to figure something out. So
Cool. That's a great idea. All right. So we've come to the end. It is juveniles next week. That's going to present a challenge for all of us because lots of juveniles don't look like what they look like when they get bigger. But we got a couple of cute pictures of some owls. If you like owls, I have some pictures of owls wearing their pajamas. So that'll be pretty cool.
Pajamas.
Mm-hmm. And you'll have to come back next week to see it.
I guess so.
So
Okay. All right, folks. So we're happy you joined us today. Glad that you listened to some incredible bird songs, and we're grateful to Dan George for explaining all this stuff, and to Kent for putting together all those great images, and to special thanks also to Terry Stanfield for all of his great images, which I think we'll be showing for a long time. So that's really cool. If you have images, birding images, something like that you'd like for us to share on the show, you can also submit those to Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com, and we'll try to get those on the show for you to share to the world. And until that time, keep looking up and tune in tomorrow for Focus on Astrophotography with Ross and Chuck. So we'll talk to you later, and good night, everyone.
bye, everybody.
Bye.
bye.
Alpen Wings 8x42 binoculars are designed with versatility in mind. The BAK4 fully multi-coated optics, combined with the lightweight and ergonomic open-hinged body design, make these waterproof binoculars the perfect tool for any situation or weather. Armored and purged, these binoculars are tough enough to last against any minor bumps and dings and will never suffer from internal fogging. With the long eye relief and twist-up eye cups, the Alpen Wings 8x42 binoculars are the perfect tool for any adventure.